Right, you guys, thanks for being on. This is our June team call, and I'm so excited to have, where is she? Maddie wave. So Maddie is going to be talking tonight all about social media and kind of how she's evolved and a little bit of like how she invites you. I'll let her get into all of that. But I do want to make sure that I give her the proper announcement or recognition, I should say, because I want you guys to know when she's speaking, like what an amazing coach she is and kind of where she started. So is now a 5-star elite team. So her team hit elite last year and she's a 5-star diamond coach. And then in 2020, she was a premier coach, which is amazing still. And she's a Success Club 10 all-star legend. And she started coaching at 20 years old, you guys. So she was young. She didn't have a business background. She was still in school and a volleyball player. And she's actually going back to PT school in July. So she's currently living in her first home that she bought with her boyfriend. I always say, I'm like, isn't he your husband? She's like, no, not yet, but it will be soon. And then of course with her doodle. So with that being said, I just want to say, like, Maddie, you guys have to look at it like this too, because I know that it's so amazing when we hear tips and tricks from different people that are successful. And so what I love about this is just how Maddie can do it totally different than me and someone else that you follow or you. And don't ever think that means that you have to change everything that you're doing. What I love from these calls is I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do that. Or that's a really great point or takeaway. So with that being said, Maddie, I'm going to make you the host and then I'll let you take over.
Perfect. Kind of crazy. It's almost like a full circle moment because I remember speaking on your team call in the beginning of 2019, like right after I had first spoke on a Diesel Nation call. And I was like, this is so awesome. And I was like, right when I started doing team calls. And so it's like, what, almost 2 years later. And now we're hosting our summit together and all the things. I don't know. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Okay, let's share. I left some time for you guys to ask me questions at the end so that if there's anything that's like confusing or you're like, is this what you do? Whatever, like you guys can totally ask me anything. I'm very much an open book. I also just got a facial, so I might have no makeup on, so sorry. This is how you're getting me. But I'm going to talk a lot about social media, a little bit how I add to my market. A lot of this, if you've been on my powers, might be like reminders, and then a little bit about the inviting section. Some of this might be new, some of it might just be good reminders. So I encourage you to take notes because at any point, some of these things might have been that you maybe did 2 years ago and you're like, oh, I haven't done that in a while. Maybe I should get back and start doing that again. So I think a lot of it, we are talking about social media constantly. We have that social media boot camp going on Facebook right now. Like it's all over the place. But the number one thing is that you cannot let social media, discourage you from your journey. It is constantly changing. I started Instagram when I was in 8th grade. So yes, I grew up with it throughout my entire high school, college, everything experience. So for me, it might be a little bit easier, but I don't know the algorithm. There's constantly new features popping out. So it's always just a learn as you go process, just like our business. It's the same with social media. So don't let it scare you. Let it be something that you can continuously get better at throughout the journey. Okay. So first things first is that your social media is your storefront. When you come to your Instagram page or your Facebook, it is all about you and you running your business. We save our Instagram stories as, the real authentic version of yourself. But in your feed and like those first 9 photos and your bio and everything, that is all about you and someone coming to your business being like, what does she have to offer? So when I come to your Instagram page, do I have to like snoop to figure out like what your brand is? Like what are you doing? Doesn't mean like Beachbody, but like, are you a mom? Are you a runner? Are you a girlfriend? Are you into fitness? Whatever it is. Is it up front or is it like hidden behind like random photos of your children that you're like, what does that even have to do? Because I think I see that a lot where it's like, there's a one clear photo of your face, and then there's like 10 photos of like random things, and then it's like another clear photo randomly. And it just has to be that aesthetically pleasing thing that doesn't have to be complicated. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks, but it's so important that it is beautiful in your identity of beautiful when they come to your page. There's three different ways that, I mean, there's honestly so many, but there's three big ways that we can post on our main feed, which is Instagram, IGTVs. So if you were to go live and you saved it as an IGTV, Reels, which a lot of people get scared about. We're going to talk about it, Reels, and then just a random, like, you know, actual post on your page and then a caption. So those are the three main ways that we can share. But when I go to share, my main focus is to either inspire someone to do something, educate them, entertain them in some way. Like, I have to be giving them value for them to want to stay on my page. If I show them value and then I don't ever talk about that main thing again, like my story, then why would they stick around? And so a lot of times people are like, you tell your story constantly and like all the time. And I'm like, but I'm doing my job of getting new people on my page. Me telling my story over and over and over again is just helping those new people understand me. And those old people realize like why they came here, and they can see themselves in my shoes and then walk with me through that path. So, storefront. I want you guys to look at your Instagram bio. Number one is just having a simple username. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. If I could go back, I would change it just to my name, because you want it to be searchable. You don't want someone to like be able to be like, who is that? Like, it doesn't even have your name in your actual username. Super important. Having a clear profile picture, not you and your husband and your kids and whatever. Your profile picture is you, because that is who's going to be messaging them. And they don't want to be like, who is that girl from like high school? Oh yeah, no, but it's you, and they can see it's you. Having a searchable title. So coach, speaker, boy, mom, just her name, whatever you kind of want it to be. And then an effective bio, which means, who are you here to help? You're talking about that in your Instagram bio. I help blank with blank. So I help mentor women to build scalable online businesses. I help mamas show up for themselves so they can show up for their families. I help bring hope to the hopeless and help mamas twin with their littles, helping ex-athletes, busy women, serial starters fall back in love with themselves one day at a time. Your profile needs to say, I am here to help blank with blank, so that they know the value that you're going to add to their life when they follow you. And then always having a link to, a link tree or a form or whatever that might look like. I'm going to be doing a tutorial on that next week in that social media bootcamp. But I also have another one that's already out if you have trouble with that and you want help with trying to figure out Linktree. But having that link in the bio is super important, so that when that person might not be comfortable just direct messaging you, they can at least go click and find out some more information on what that looks like, or just fill out the form so that they can see like what their goals are and tell you what their goals are. And then you can kind of help them pick their path. There's just different people out there that are going to be super direct. They're going to watch you forever. Some people just want to click the link in your bio. You have to be able to serve all those people. And that's just part of your main, storefront when they show up to your social media. So how to get the look of having a really beautiful, social media that's not like it's taking you a bunch of time, because nobody has that much time. Like when I started this, I was playing college volleyball. I was working as a barista, a nanny, and then I was going to school full time. Like I didn't have time on my side, but I knew that if I could use Lightroom and figure out how to get that filter, it would make my life so much easier. Or if I could get a tripod so that I never had to ask my roommates to take photos, I would just, after my workout, take a bunch of photos so that I had like a photo dump, so that on days that I'm like, didn't want to put makeup on, or I felt uninspired to take photos, I had so many in my photo album that I never had to worry about that. It's like the number one thing you hear from new coaches is like, well, I don't have content to post. Well, go take that tripod, go in front of a window, go outside, get some good lighting, and take a bunch of photos. Change your outfits up, change your hairstyle up. Like, make it easier on yourself. If someone looked at my camera roll, they'd be like, you're so obsessed with yourself, because I have photos for probably like 3 years I could still post and not even reuse. But on the flip side, if you've been doing this for a while, don't be scared to reuse photos that you've used in the past. Obviously, not if you just posted it in the last 9 photos, but maybe a year ago. Reuse that photo. Nobody's going to know. And you're going to have great content to go along with it. And then Lightroom is how you just get that one filter on your page so that it all kind of looks aesthetic. Oh, didn't even show on there. I'll show you on the next slide, but how it all kind of flows together. I had someone ask me, like, I don't want people to feel like they have to be filtered, to have a social media or be a Beachbody coach. And honestly, when I hear that, to me, it's just like, then keep your stories unfiltered. Your stories don't have to have a filter on them. They can be you. It's real, it's raw, but your main feed just needs to kind of flow. It needs to like not be like a purple photo and then a yellow photo and then a dark photo because they can't figure out what's going on. And then I use the app Preview that you can put your photos up there and then it kind of just shows you like what's going on. So it kind of shows you like what you posted before, what the other photos are. And sometimes if you're like stuck on like, what should I post? You can like give yourself like, oh, okay. So like I posted about my kids. I posted about my fitness journey. I haven't posted a transformation photo in 2 months. Is that because I'm not getting results? Or is that just because I forgot? Because our business is to help people transform in whatever that might be for them. But we have to make sure that we're posting transformation photos at least like every other week if we're posting daily. That's something that a lot of people forget because one, maybe they're not in their fitness journey like they should be. And that's always a direct reflection of our business, but maybe you just forget. And so this is your reminder to go post that transformation photo because isn't it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Transformation Tuesday. Go post that photo after if you haven't posted today and make it your transformation photo. But like I was saying with Lightroom, it literally, once you can figure out how to get it into Lightroom, don't ask me. I know there's instructions. I actually do have good instructions if you need them right now. But once you get it in there, everything is so much easier because you literally just click the preset button and it just filters your photo. It's not super dramatic. I still look like the same person, but when you look at my feed, it still has the same color tones throughout my entire grid. So I look like red and splotchy and you put a filter on it and it all just kind of flows together. So don't overcomplicate the filter, but know that presets are important for that, aesthetically pleasing Instagram that you are searching to have because we all love to look at it. But when it comes to Facebook, that's not really necessarily a big thing because on Facebook, you don't have a grid of all your photos, right? Like it's just like random things that pop up in your timeline. So it's not as important on Facebook, but it's easier just to link them and have them all together. And then what goes on our Instagram stories? So that was all kind of like our main feed, but what goes on our stories is the messy action. It's the day-to-day. It's the morning routine. How are you fitting coaching into your life? How are you fitting these workouts into your life? Maybe it's like your workout clips from the day. Maybe there's a really good sale going on, like the Summer Strong sale or a flash sale, those graphics, whatever it is, those memes, that all goes on your Instagram stories because that's where they're going to understand and like relate to you and kind of build that trust. But you're not found because of your Instagram stories. Like Instagram does not promote people's stories out there. What they do promote is your reels and your posts. And so that's why that's super crucial that it's thought out. But your Instagram stories don't need to be this like super beautiful thought out process. It's the messy stuff. And that's what's going to make you feel and relate to that other mom that's running around like a crazy person that she's like, how is she fitting this into her life? Like, I can't even get on social media. And then she watches your story at the end of the night, once the kids go to bed, and she's like, oh my gosh, that makes more sense. So yeah, the messy action. My favorite apps, I get this all the time. So Splice is what I use for my workout videos. And then a lot of people asked me yesterday, Mojo. So like I have this one where it looks like your phone and then you can like screen record your challenge group or whatever. and then post it in so it looks like a phone and then it's scrolling through the phone. So that's on the app Mojo. I think I paid like $12 for the whole year. I don't know, something like that. But I like it sometimes because it just mixes up my Instagram stories. So it doesn't look like the same thing all the time. I can also on that app like collage my workout videos together. I know you can do that on Pick, Play, Post. Like there's a bunch of different ones out there, but those are my 3 favorite. And then Unfold is really good so that if you're doing like a story sequence, so if you're inviting to a coach info session or a sip and learn, you can kind of like plot out what it's going to look like. But at the end of the day, the best way is to speak with your voice. Graphics can only go so far, but if someone can hear the excitement and the joy and the passion in your voice from you lifting up your phone and speaking to it like it's your best friend on FaceTime, it's going to work so much better. And I know it can be scary. And I know the first time you're like, oh my God, I just want to delete that. I hope nobody even looked at it. I don't want anyone to hear it. Guys, my roommates and Nick would literally like sit next to me and play them and just laugh. You know how hard that was to like be able to like get up the next day and do it again, even though it was like on my tracker and everyone was talking about it. It was really freaking tough. In those beginning stages, I know how freaking hard it is to get outside your comfort zone because everyone is so worried about the judgment. But people are going to judge you no matter what. So you might as well show up to the people like on this call that are going to support you through that, because we want you to win, not the people that are laughing at you behind your back because you are a part of whatever. And so it's so important that we do use our voice and that we get outside that little bubble of like using graphics as a crutch and start using our voice to show our excitement about what we've got going on. So, do I have to make reels? Honestly, yes. I mean, Kelly's the reels queen, so. But I, for a long time, was like, I'll do reels like when I have time. But in the last, I don't know, I guess it's almost been 30 days, I did one of Brock Johnson's reels challenges. I missed a few days because I'm human, but I posted more reels in the last 30 days than I have in a really freaking long time. And my engagement has been up so much. Also, I traveled to Vegas, so I'm sure like when you travel, it's always up too. But the way that like I feel like I can interact with my audience in a funny way and I can entertain them is so much more when I'm doing Instagram reels. My posts, like you can't really entertain someone that much. But when you're like, mimicking someone's voice and you're doing something super funny or a funny dance, like that's going to entertain someone to stay on your page longer. And when they stay on your page longer, Instagram's like, oh, they really like this person. Let me put their story bubbles up sooner when they jump onto Instagram. And when they do that, they go click on your stories and they see you being super consistent in your fitness journey and how incredible you look and the confidence that you have. And they're going to ask you what you're doing. But that comes from doing these uncomfortable things like making reels. So if you feel like you struggle with reels, I would go follow Brock Johnson on Instagram. He has a bunch of ideas and a bunch of tips and tricks. And he also always has like the most trending songs, which I'm going to give you like the top 7 tips for reels. But it's super important that if you ever want something to go viral, that you're using something that's trending already and not trying to be that trendy person. I mean, I feel like I'm just not creative. So that's never going to be me doing the first song of it, but I can go find it and I'm going to go do it again. So the first 7 things, or top 7. Number 1 is just always share it to your feed. If you feel like you couldn't share this reel to your feed, then you probably shouldn't even be posting it in the first place. Because if it doesn't have a spot on your feed, then it's probably not the quality that you want to put out there. So I would make sure that if you are going to post the reel, that it goes on your feed because it is something that's going to add value to somebody's life. Have a hook to engage the audience. So maybe it's like how to, I'm not going to say like lose 5 pounds in 10 days, but like how to drink more water, or my best tips for blah, 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 blah. And so that way someone's like, oh, what's her best tips on how to get some abs for the summer? And then she tunes in and she sees a few different moves and she's like, oh, what are those moves from? Beachbody. And you link the 2, right? So having a hook to engage your audience is super important. Those first 3 seconds is what's going to help someone decide if they're going to stick to your reel or they're going to scroll to the next one. Using text and transitions, are super important because it kind of just catches people's eye. They're reading what's going on, because we all know that most people don't even listen to Instagram stories without the sound on, because they're probably like nursing a baby or in a doctor's office or at work. And so they don't have time to have the sound on because they don't want to get busted. But if you have text, they maybe save it and they'll come back to it and listen to it later. Same thing when you post on your stories. And then again, using trending songs. So if you maybe spend like 5 minutes a day just watching reels and see what keeps popping up, then you save the ones that you feel like, oh, okay, I keep seeing that one. That's super funny. That must relate back to me. That's why they're sending it to me. And then I would save it and then maybe remake it in your own words, or realize that that song is what's trending right now. So like, I need to make something with that song. And I think that's what Brock does really well, is that he sees that and then he makes it into his, niche market and like, relates back to it. But he gives you ideas as a Beachbody coach or as a network marketer, how you can make that into yours. Post to your stories. So if you make a reel and you share it to your Instagram stories, those views will count. So I would encourage you to do that. And then using 30 hashtags. So I use the app Hash, HISHHASH. It's completely free. But you can make hashtags on there, and then it'll show you ones that are like common to that hashtag. So like, say I put in Scottsdale, Arizona, and then I look, it'll be like Scottsdale fitness. I'm like, okay, I want to add that one. So it's super easy to add different ones. And then you can have different like brackets of different hashtags based on like what your post is about, which is super nice. It's very user-friendly. But you can put those either in your caption or your comments. It doesn't matter. So personally, I always like to put it in my in my comment section, but some people like to put it in their captions. But using those hashtags, it's what's going to make you searchable and for someone to find your page. And then always try and end with a call to action. If you found this valuable, save this or send it to your friend, right? Make sure that they know what they need to do once they finish your reel. Either that could be in your caption or that could be in your actual reel in text. You get to choose that. I'm going to keep going. And then again, if you guys have questions, write them down. How to add to your market. I think something we do a lot is just worry, like, are we doing it right? Am I doing this the best that I possibly can? And sometimes we just need to stop worrying about all the other things and just start following people, because that's the number one way that you're going to start to find new eyes. And maybe that first person you follow is not your person, but they get you to follow somebody else that becomes your rock star coach. You cannot decide that for someone. You have no idea how much that person might need it based on their little profile bubble. So you might as well follow them and start to make that connection. So most of the time, I follow at least 200 people a day. Some people are like, how the heck do you even keep track of that? So what I do is that I just do 50 at a time. So maybe during my power hour, I only get one set of 50 in, but then I'll just make a little dash in my Rise Up planner. And that means one set of 50. And then maybe in the bathroom later, I'm like hiding from the kids I nanny. And I'm like, I'm going to go follow 50 people really quickly. And then I'll make another dash. So now I know that I'm at 100. And I'll just keep doing 50 at a time so that I'm not trying to like overcomplicate it or that like Instagram locks me out. But 50 always works. I get these people from people that are already following my page, or they're liking my posts, or they're watching and they're friends of friends. So maybe that person I've put into my challenge group, but they are not interested in coaching. Then I'll go look at their Instagram page and be like, oh, okay, like who are these girls? Let me follow some of them. And then I can go do that same thing to their friends. And I get into this rabbit hole, but most of the time, those are the people that are going to be like you. For a while, I would try and go to like these big inspiration accounts and these like Bachelor people, because I love watching The Bachelor. And I'd be like, I have no idea how I'm going to spend quality time trying to find that one person. It's super overwhelming. Half the people are robots. And so if you do find those inspiration accounts that you do love, or like a blogger, make sure that you save them in a collection so that when you do go to this section during your power hour, you're super efficient, because you can just click there and then go find those people that you want to follow for the day and not be super like spending 15 minutes trying to find that one person. And then stop worrying about the number, right? Like, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. You could have 10,000 followers and still have 500 views on your Instagram stories, and it doesn't matter, right? Like, the ratio of how many people you're following to, following you, it doesn't matter. It's all about you serving your audience. If you are serving with coming there with so much knowledge and so much to give, they're going to be there for you. But if you're there just trying to get the sale and you're just there trying to get one more follower, you're going to constantly be like this. And then you're going to end up hating social media because it's frustrating. So I encourage you to like let go of whatever follower count. Yes, we all want 10,000 followers for the swipe up feature, but it's going to happen when it happens. You might as well have fun finding people that you love to serve on your platform. And then all I would say is just keep producing good content. If your content is not very good and you're really not giving your audience much, then it does not matter how many followers you have. So focus on what you can control, not the number of people that are signing up, but the message and the light that you share every single day when you come to your platform. Do people look at you like, oh my God, I can't wait to go see what she has to offer today, right? Or are they like, oh, there she is again with a shake next to her face that I don't want any part of? You got to give them all the content and all the things before you can ask for anything in return. Because it's super important just to connect, engage, and be a human being. Again, it goes back to what they talked about in the National Wake Up Call this week. It's like you have to talk about everything else besides Beachbody so that you can have more sales, because that's how it turns out. It's not about inviting the most people to Beachbody. It's about having the most genuine connections in this pipeline of people in your market that you can constantly have on your side. And that's when they're going to be like, what are you doing? You look so good. And that's the best compliment you can get. Or like, you look so happy, or you look so confident. And that's what you're going for. So my kind of storefront invite, again, I connect a lot. Like my power hours are probably like at least half, if not more, focused on just connecting with people. Because if I go to that person that just followed me and send them an invite, they're running for the hills because this girl wants to sell them something. But if I ask them like, oh my gosh, how old is your doodle? Or where are you living right now? Like, where do you live? Like, I ask that all the time because it's such an easy conversation starter. Then I can start to genuinely connect with that person. And then they start watching my stories. And then I can go and send them that invite. But as soon as someone follows me back, or, you like follow you in general, I always say, hey, blank, thanks so much for the follow. I truly appreciate the support. Where are you from? I have a little bit more in there about like going to school and stuff. But just keep it simple. Ask them a question. Always end it with a question. Where are you from? I used to ask like, are you on a health and fitness journey too? And then people would be like, no, or like, yeah, I am, thanks. And like, then they want nothing to do with you. So I always just kind of leave it open by asking, where are you from? So you can genuinely start to, make that conversation. Then once they're continuing to watch your stories and like your post for like a week, then you can send them that invite. And don't be scared to shoot them the invite that you would want to be sent. So make sure that it's genuine, make sure that it's real and authentic. Holly Hillier was talking about sending, invites via voice memo or a video message. To when I send coach invites, like that is what I do every single time, because I think it's super weird for someone to be like, I think you'd be great at this, but like not be genuinely talking to me. And I want those people to know that like I'm handpicking you and sending you a personal video message because I know you'd be an incredible coach. So I love making it a little bit more personal when it comes to coach invites. But either way, sending the invites, super important part of the process, because then you can do the follow-ups. So as soon as I send them the invite and they say, yes, they want more information, I write them down in my hot list so that I can always come back and follow up with them. And I write down the date that I sent them information. You can do that on Flowdesk. You can do it on Google Streak, whatever it looks like for you. I like pen and paper. I like simple. I like that I not have to worry about, oh my gosh, where is this person? Who have I talked to? Do what works best for you, but have a process so that you can continuously do that and then teach someone else that same process of how you do it. because everything is about duplication in this business. So my 3 biggest tips is just number 1, change the way you post. Ask yourself, is this look at me, or is this let me serve you? Let me give you everything that you need to know. Let me give you all the tips. Let me send you a free meal plan. I don't care, because I know when you're ready, you're going to come to me because I'm the one that's giving you all these resources. But if you're just constantly posting about, this is what I did, I just bought a house and da 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 da, people are like, okay, cool. What is it? There's nothing in it for me. You want them to see themselves in your shoes every single day. And then every time you go to post for a reason. Will this motivate? Will this inspire someone, educate, or entertain someone in some way when I post this post or reel or whatever it might be? Have I shared 2 to 3 strong call to actions this week? Whether it's to my boot camp, whether it's to coaching, I have to have that strong call to action for my audience to know what they need to do. Have I posted shareable content that someone might want to send to their bestie, right? If I'm sharing a fun quote that someone's like, oh my God, that is so relatable, and they send it to their friend, that's what you want. You want your content to be relatable to those people. Have people really been able to see who you are as that coach? Not just the cookie cutter, I only eat salad coach, but you as that real human, because that's where they're going to like, know, and trust you. And getting that trust factor is so important. So 3.5+ years into this, I don't stress about Success Club because I have this pipeline and this hot list of humans that I'm genuinely connecting with, that I know that I can go and message them and they're ready to join me, because I've constantly been cultivating that relationship and giving them so much value. And then, have I drawn to their emotions? Am I telling my story so that, again, they can see themselves in my shoes and how I have the solution to what their current problem is? Have I given them that deep down, gut feeling of oh, I really need to do this? And it's not just like this one girl just posting about how she has a 6-pack. That's not relatable to that person that has that current problem. They want to see themselves through your journey, not just the end destination. So maybe you're a brand new coach and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not where I want to be yet, and this seems super uncomfortable. Great. That's exactly where you need to be, because now you can show that person where you started, where you're at, and where you're headed. And then using your stories as a tool to effectively captivate your audience, like your best friend on FaceTime. That is what I was saying when I said, graphics are great, but you speaking like you're on FaceTime with your friend is so much more valuable, and it's going to really connect with that person so much deeper than just clicking past a graphic that they might have saw randomly scrolling. You are so much more than an affiliate swipe up link. You are so much more than an influencer. You are so much more value to give. So make sure that you're constantly engaging and asking questions to your audience. Maybe it's a this or that post, or asking for their opinion. When I got my house done, oh my God, people wanted to tell me everything and anything. They wanted to vote on every single color that I was doing. They love voting on different outfits wherever I'm going. That is what's super important to my audience. They love to be involved. Then I put up a poll about my workout and someone joining my boot camp, and I'll get 1 person votes on it. But I post about, what did I post about last week? Either skincare or nutrition or something. And hundreds of people are voting on the poll because they relate to that. So make sure that you have those relatable polls up there to get their opinions, because people love to share their opinions. And then screen recording and sharing your wins from your challenge group. What does it truly mean to check in to your accountability group? What does it mean to have accountability, right? Those are words that we throw around all the time, but sometimes our audience doesn't really understand what that truly means. So making sure that we screen record what our bod group looks like, or maybe it's on Facebook, and then posting it on our story and talking about those wins. It's so important that they can see that deep dive behind the scenes before they commit. Because if you just see the challenge pack, you don't understand the value. But until you can see what's really going on and what they truly get, that's when they're going to understand, $140, I would pay every single month for what we get with Beachbody. So I will open it up to questions, but just remember, you're always in control of the conversation. You are in control of the conversation. So ask questions. You know, if you get objections about money or time or whatever, make sure you handle those objections with that person, but publicly handle those objections because someone else probably is thinking or feeling the same exact way. It's a great way to have content for that day. Add value, be the light, be someone that people want to come to your page every single day and see what you're doing. Because it's not just a sale. It's not just Success Club points. You're not going to wake up at 5 a.m. to get on my power hour because you want to hit Success Club. You're going to be there because you want to build an incredible business that's going to, you know, be the driver in that vehicle for wherever you want to go in your life. And the best compliment you can ever get, at least to me, is that you inspire me so much. I feel so internally grateful when someone's like, you inspired me so much. If they sign up, great. If they don't sign up and they start on their journey, amazing. I want them to feel inspired to go take action in their life. So I will open it up to questions. I hope that was helpful. See, the chat was kind of blowing up. Hashtag. Oh, okay, good. Hashtag.
I love Hish Hash. I've been using that too.
It's the best. I used to have them in my notes section and it was so hard.
Same.
Is there any questions in the chat? No, I feel old.
I don't think I saw any. It's just a few who were asking like, oh, what was the name of that app? Or
oh wait, Desiree asked, do you have a separate personal and work profile? So when I started, again, I was very young and like nervous of everything and judgment. And so I started Healthy Happy Maddie and I kept it private for like 2 months and wondered why I wasn't successful. No one followed me. Like, how was I ever going to be successful at that point? So if I were to start today, I would 100% do my regular Instagram because I'm talking about all things life. It's not just fitness. But in that stage of my life, like I could literally never imagine. Like I would post once every 3 months and it was like the most perfect picture that I ever thought with like this clever, catchy caption. And that was the end of my social media. So then I would like probably have never started doing what I do now. But if I were to do it again, and I always tell my coaches, like, just do what you're already doing because that's what people relate to. So I don't know if that helps, but I have a creator account because that's like the easiest one to kind of link to your Facebook too. Let's see. Oh yeah, I just heard of that talkboard.com today. Oh, you've been using it too, Kelly?
mm-hmm.
Okay, do you ever do collabs? It just really depends. Like I like the verb energy bars, like I do a lot, but not like a ton that I really post about. Like I get random ones all the time. Like every single time I post something, it's like collab, collab, collab. And I usually just delete them because I'm like, they're not helping my engagement at all. If they're like in my comments, but like I'll say yes to things. And if I like it, I'll share about it, but I don't really share about things that I don't love.
Same. I feel like it's such a time sucker too. Like, especially when you become a public account and you start using hashtags, it's just a generic message they send to so many people. And if you go back and forth with them, it could be like 20 minutes out of your day. And then where is that taking you? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was like, I don't know, a brand that I absolutely love and I use all the time, and I'm like, oh my God, well, yeah, let's do it. If you're going to hook me up with stuff, you know, I'll definitely share or, you know, do something like that to help you gain more eyes, you know, and do like a giveaway or some sort. But I don't think that's like, you know, you got to use your best judgment.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like what helped me a lot in the beginning is like, I did giveaways almost like every single month at the beginning of the month, but I just did them with like Energize or a sticker or something. And just so that I could get like real people commenting, and then I would go follow those people. And that's how I grew a lot. in the beginning is just like having those fun little giveaways of random things. And I also used to always do like the first 3 people that sign up, like get resistance bands because it was during 80-day obsession. So like I would just go on Amazon, buy $5 resistance bands and send them to the people. But that way I always knew I hit Success Club 6 by the 6th of the month, because I was like, those first 3 people are going to get a special little gift. And then if you sign up more, great. But I always made sure like that was my first like goal. Like I did not miss Success Club 6 by the 6th of the month.
Hey, Maddie, do you
Yes.
plan out your social media? Like, do you know what you're going to be doing in Reels for the week? Do you know what you're going to be posting about? Because I know that you're like super creative and fun to watch. I love you. And I first started watching you on TikTok.
Really?
And yeah.
I don't even feel like I have TikTok presence. That's funny.
Well, that was a while back, you know.
Okay.
But anyways, I just didn't know if you like planned like your songs or plan like you know what you're doing, or I just want to see if you
I wish I would say like I planned more, but I mean, my reels I feel like are planned out more. Like I usually like will spend a day and do like 3 in one day so that I have like plenty of my drafts. But my posts and my content, a lot of it's just like in real time, because I feel like I used to like when I would go on vacations, like it was easier to plan out things. So I didn't feel like I was on my phone, but like most of my stuff is day to day. Like what just hit me in the face? Was it an objection? Was it something I read in my personal development that I feel like I'm called to tell my audience? Because sometimes I feel like when I plan it out, then I'm not as creative. Then I feel like I'm reusing older ideas. But for the most part, like I always have like photos and stuff planned, but most of the time, like the captions are kind of like spare the moment. But I probably should get better at that because I am going to school and not going to have a bunch of time. But again, I'm sometimes old school, like I write pen and paper, like my follow-ups and stuff. So it just kind of, I feel like it depends. Like it depends on the season for sure.
I just downloaded the app that you were saying, Preview, and I like that.
Yeah. It's nice. It's like easy just to like kind of see like what it's going to look like next.
Yeah, I used to do that with Plan, and then Plan got confusing and it was always like taking forever to load. So
Yeah.
I'll piggyback off of what you said about Preview and like kind of seeing what it'll look like before you post it. And I really think that's important, you guys, because there's times where you might not even realize that you have like 3 photos that look the same. And to me, I just think it's so good to mix up when you're like looking at the camera, when you're looking away. I mean, go look at Maddie's feed right now. And I think she does a really good job of like kind of drawing you in, and it's not all the same photos. It's a mix of her doing action shots and, like, I don't know, there's just something that makes you go, oh, okay, I want to check her out. Right. And everyone has such a different way of whether they plan out their posts or not. But I don't think it's like what you have to do in your life. Like if you have a busy work schedule, or you have stuff and you want to shoot for like 4 posts a week, then yes, then I would be like, okay, let's figure out, maybe upload some photos into that app. And then that way you can write out a post that like comes to mind when you're looking at that photo.
That's a good idea. Do you ever mention Beachbody or products by the name when you promote or talk about them with your fitness and health? Not necessarily. Like I still kind of use curiosity marketing, but I feel like it's very obvious like what I do. Like if I'm using bod ropes, like I feel like people kind of, but most of the time I still say superfood shake or my all natural pre-workout, just like things that kind of like draw people to be like, oh, what is that? There are some people who are like Melanie Mitro's podcast was talking about curiosity marketing the other day, and just like it's dead, but it's not dead in the same way. But I don't necessarily I used to like post my like first photo was like a bag of Shakeology like next to me, like, and then it was like a shaker cup that said Beachbody, or so like I don't do that kind of thing because I think it's so easy for people to be like, oh, I've tried that once, my coach never showed up, I'm never trying it again. And you're completely different. And so I don't want them to ever just think Beachbody then run. I want them to think like, this person's adding so much value. What is she like doing? Because I don't care what it is. Like, I want it because look at what she's doing for so many people's lives. So I personally don't use a lot of products like names and stuff like that. Any other questions?
Anyone? While you have Maddie here.
Maddie, where do you get the percentage of your customers from?
Where do I get them from?
Yeah, so are you getting them from like your stories or your reels, or where do you find like the most? I mean, I know you're connecting with a ton of people, but where would you say?
A lot of them are not like warm market, but a lot of people are like friends of people I went to college with, it seems like still. Just like once removed, almost like their friends did it like a while ago, and then I'm still like in that area. But I don't think I've really tapped into a lot of reels like those people converting yet. I think it's great to get those eyes on my page, but I'm not super focused on that as my main way to get people to say yes. But I think a lot of it is my stories and just being authentic. Like, I think a lot of it's just like, I've had people that take 3 years to sign up and then the same day. So I feel like it's all about that consistency and them just trusting you, no matter if it's the Instagram message invite or it's my stories and they click on the poll. I think it just comes back to like them watching for enough time to be like, okay, she's not just going to like disappear once I sign up.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that because I think sometimes, we think there's got to be this method. Like, okay, so are they just coming to you and taking your poll? And like what Maddie said, she'll do a poll on, do you want to join my boot camp? And she might get one person, and that one person might be me if I was watching her poll. And I'm like, sure, right? So, because that does happen to me too. I'm like, oh, thanks, Kim. Kim took my poll. And then I get nothing. But then the next day, I might change the poll up a little bit where it's like, me sharing how I'm in a fitness rut, or I feel like I just am not making myself, like I'm not going all in right now and I need to change that up. Does anyone else feel that way? And then those are the people, when you do those kind of polls, when you get vulnerable and they are like, oh, she's not trying to sell me anything. Like, yeah, I definitely am not motivated right now, or I'm definitely in a funk. Those are the people that later the next day, when I see, oh my God, 20 people took that. Hey, Sarah, I saw that you took my poll that you're in a fitness funk. Oh my gosh, me too. I don't know what is going on, but I'm glad I'm not alone. By the way, let them know I do run private accountability groups, and my next one's focused on like what, maybe it's like the 30-day hard, or maybe it's focused on nutrition, whatever it is, you guys, like you have to change it up. You can't get discouraged when you're like, well, I didn't get anyone this week, or and it's about staying consistent too. Like she said, she might get someone who signs up after watching her and having a conversation that day. And some people will be like, okay, I am ready. And I know it was a year ago that you reached out to me, but I'm finally ready now because you've been consistent. And that is one thing that Maddie does, is that she's just consistent. She's consistent with her workouts, sharing her story, sharing who she is. And people, you guys, people want to join those who are all in. Right? They want to get results, and if they are interested in coaching, they want to join someone who looks like, not like, oh my gosh, you must be super successful by sharing whatever it is. No, people just want to know like you're serious about it, and that if they come into your team, what are the trainings? What does it look like? Do they do team calls? That's kind of cool. What's the camaraderie like? But I think at the end of the day, like one thing I can say about Maddie is just from watching her since you did our last team call 2 years ago, is just your confidence has gone up, where you guys, confidence comes from action. And confidence comes from like when you get a few working coaches and you're like, oh my gosh, wow, now I know that this is real. And so I want to really quick before we have to hop off, but what would you say, Maddie, like for you to get, because I know that's what everyone wants to know, is like, how do you get working coaches? Do you feel like you convert more challengers to coaches, or are you getting them from like coach sneak peeks and stuff?
I would say my lifelong coaches have always came from my boot camps. Like I would say probably 95% of my people have come from starting on their fitness journey, falling in love with the process, loving the products, and then they're going to stick it out. Like they know that they love it. I have a few people that came in for the business, but like very sporadically. And most of the times it's like hit or miss. It's like they're all in for 3 months. They become a success starter. They're hitting Success Club, and then they're like, too much pressure. I'm gone. And I don't really like Shakeology. And you're like, okay, like they just think it's going to happen quick. They think they're going to get all the money. And then they're like, and then they're going to be able to propel their own gym or something like that. Because a lot of people ask me about, because I was like a personal trainer and taught group fitness and then physical therapy. And they're like, do you like, get a lot of people that are in that realm? And I think it's the hardest place to recruit from is other personal trainers or fitness experts, because they have an ego just like I did, and they think they know everything. So why would you pay to partner with Beachbody? And so I find the people that are able to get vulnerable, like they love the workouts and they're ready to lose their ego, no matter if that's just because they're scared to share on social media or they're scared to be a part of a network marketing, but they know how much it's changed their life. And that's where they're going to be here forever. It's the people that think it's going to be quick and fast that come in for just the business, that sometimes they just don't get it. They don't love the community. They haven't fully immersed themselves. And so they don't have enough skin in the game. So I feel like that's definitely where my people come from, is my groups. I think you said I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, most everyone on this call, most of them who are mine started as a challenger, and it evolved into something more because you fell in love with it. Like I did, we all did. And so even if I have a new coach that's like, I'm ready to work the business, I'm like, great, but let me get you into a group first. And I'm going to sign you up as a coach, but like, let's not focus on coaching yet. Let's focus on just you going all in on a program, you like immersing yourself into my challenge group, the community, logging your workout shakes, because I want them to get used to that, you guys, before I'm like, okay, do your coming out post, and oh, great, have you started 21 Day Fix? Oh, you haven't yet? Oh, okay, so I don't know if that's something that you do too, Maddie, but I'm like, I have learned the hard way of like getting excited and signing them up as a coach and putting them into all this stuff, and then I'm like, that's overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly. And they don't even know, like, if someone were to say more information, they don't know even a name of one of the programs yet, because they haven't done the whole like they haven't even done the first week. So I always say like at least 7 days of shakes and workouts before you can like confidently be like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I really think like that's why it's so important though, every month, and why we focus on challenge groups, because and that's the beauty of our company and our mission is like, if you focus on serving and helping 3 to 5 people a month, your business is organically going to grow, especially if you're spending time with those people that you bring in, because those are the people that, will convert hopefully to either a discount coach, which helps with volume, or they decide they do want to start working the business, and maybe I'll share with a few friends, but that's why we do challenge groups every single month. And you have to stay consistent, because that's the only way that you're going to bring in new people, is if you're consistent, connecting, adding to your network, inviting, and why we do the power hours, why we do, the Success Club tracker and all of that.
That's a question for you, Kelly. I've never had a viral reel, so.
It's interesting. I was listening to a podcast. I think it might have been, I don't know. I actually don't know. It might have been someone random on Instagram, and I just really liked what she said. She was like an Instagram guru, and she was like, just because a reel goes viral does not mean that increases what you're selling. I mean, like, doesn't mean an influx of customers. So you're going to get a lot of, like, I realized when a few of mine went viral, one, you get a lot of haters because people just think you're like some like famous person now on the Instagram and they can say whatever they want to you. And then you also get people that I'm like, whoa, I don't want all these random like weird names following me either. And usually those are ones that will end up unfollowing me anyway. But I think that's the hard part, right? With reels is like it's awesome if it goes viral because you're like organically people like you'll look like a lot of times what happens is I'll look at my Instagram and I'm like, oh my God, I all of a sudden have all these people that are following me, which is awesome. That is the goal, right? I didn't have to do a lot of work. A reel went viral, someone watched it, they decided to follow me. But I also don't know why they're there, right? They saw a funny reel, but I'm not always doing funny reels, or I'm not always doing like life hacks of how to peel an egg. Like, so I always think like, if you have a reel go viral, awesome. But I do like what I will do, you guys, if I'm like, okay, instead of me going out trying to connect with different hashtags, or, if I'm trying to grow my account and connect with people, I will go to a reel and go to the people that commented, respond back. And if they look like my people, like if I could tell by their profile pic, you bet I'm going to send them a thank you. So I send thank yous. Like, by the way, thank you for the love on my post. And a lot of times I get back, people like, oh my God, of course. I love, that was so funny. It was the best one I've seen in a while. Or I appreciate, like, thanks for even reaching out to me. And then it just, allows that conversation to keep going. So I will do, if I do have a reel that's like, wow, it went well, then yeah, I'm going to spend time connecting with the right people. And then the other people that have like no profile picture, or maybe they have like 3 followers and they're following like 5,000 people, I block. I don't know. I just feel like I like to say thank you. I do that a lot on my posts too. I'll just say like, thank you so much for the love of my posts. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a great day. I don't even say, by the way, are you interested in joining my team? Or I saw that you like my post on coaching. Yes, there's a time and place for that. But I personally feel like, you guys, if we are getting inundated with that already, which I am, by Zaya, by Savvy, that we're like, I don't want to come off across that. I want them to be like, oh, she's trying to actually build a relationship with me. So I prefer to go organically that way. And then usually it does turn into an invite. It just does. So, any other questions?
Really quickly.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So if I do have a reel that say has 2,000 views, there's no way to view those people unless they like it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the interesting about reel.
Yeah, because some of my, I was going to say, just because some of mine, I get a lot, some I'll get like a few hundred, and then some I'll get 1,000 and 2,000. And I'm like, well, who are those people? And so, but then I look at my followers and I'm like, okay, well, it didn't go up. So I'm like, why isn't it not working? So,
well, sometimes if your reel's like shorter, people will rewatch it. So it could be the same people watching it 4 times in a row because it's like a shorter reel, or it's like a good sound and stuff too. So I would just say like, find the joy in it. Don't stress too much about it. So I think I felt like for so long, I got so stuck in like being stressed out about social media. Like, is this the right thing? And like, if you look at your insights, like you'll kind of figure out like, is this the right thing or is it not? Like, is that not doing well? And then you just change it and you pivot. And like, it's such a learning process.
Yeah, I love that.
What was the app that you said that you used to edit your photos? Lightroom?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to download it real quick.
And yeah, I love Lightroom. It's the best. You have a preset, Maddie?
Yeah. I feel like I've used the same one for like probably almost 2 years now, actually.
Yeah, same. I think I've used the same one too.
I've never changed it, but like Christina changes it through the seasons. And I'm like, yeah, I don't do that.
I know. I always laugh at that. I like to stick to a color theme and I find what I like and then I don't want to change it. That just seems more work. You can find presets. Usually presets do cost some money. Like I bought mine. It was light and airy. I liked it because it's just my vibe, right? It's bright and airy and I like bright photos. So to me, the $35 was worth it because I'm still using that now. Like but I would recommend you finding like, what do you like when you go to someone's account? What do you like about it? Do you like it when it's more dark? Do you like it when it's more bright, colorful? And then that way you can also search on Etsy and there's like $5 to $10 presets on there too.
Yeah. I would always start probably cheaper just so that you like figure it out. Cause sometimes people spend money and they can't figure out how to upload it. So I would just make sure that like the first one you do, you like, it could be a practice round too.
Yeah, you can go on Lightroom and before you even have a preset and you can just play around with the lighting So that way, like there's times when I don't even use a preset, but I'm like, oh shoot, we were backlit, right? Like let's say the sunset was behind us and so we're really dark. Well, you can use the lighting in preset just to kind of lighten up your faces. So I like to use it for that too. All right, guys. Well, Maddie, thanks for taking the time to share your knowledge and your expertise on social media, because you really are. You're so good at it. And, you know, you have a lot of knowledge and you've done such an amazing job with growing your business and your team. And I feel like I'm your mama bear. I'm your grandma.
I'm my grandma. You're like my cool aunt. What are you talking about? Well, I hope I'm going to see most of you guys in July, even though it's going to be super hot here.
I know. Oh,